Hi everyone, it's Hughes of Asteria here with a Greek mythology character design video, and today's all about Gorgons. Who were these monstrous divas? Why were they so iconic? Without further ado, let's get into it. So the Gorgons of Greek mythology were three sisters named Medusa, Stheno, and Gorgales, who were these monstrous snake women who lived in a cave. Now, some versions of their story, they were once mortal and got turned into monsters by Athena, while in other versions, they were goddesses who symbolized protection and just always looked like that. The Gorgons were featured in many different aspects of ancient Greek art and culture, from their coins to their shields. Some sources say even that the Gorgons could be deities that predate the Olympians. For the designs, we are starting with Medusa, who is considered queen of the Gorgons. In the version of the myth where she was originally mortal, she was extremely beautiful and was a devotee of Athena. She was so pretty she caught the eye of the god Poseidon, who forced himself upon her in one of Athena's temples. Now, some people say Athena cursed Medusa to be a snake woman as a punishment because she was angry with her, while others believe this was actually Athena's way of trying to save Medusa. Regardless, once Medusa became a Gorgon, she received the power that any mortal who looked at her was immediately turned to stone. Medusa's sisters Stheno and Uriel were also transformed into snake creatures, and the three fled together to a cave far from humanity to try and live a peaceful life. Sadly, mortals often would go out of their way to bother them, and Medusa was eventually killed by a mortal hero named Perseus. For my design of Medusa, I wanted her to exude an eerie kind of beauty that made her seem powerful and terrifying while still very pretty. I tried at first to draw all of her snakes with line art, but my hands were just not having it, so instead I decided I would just add them with coloring as I went along. If you followed me on TikTok, you'll know I've been drawing a lot of Greek gods lately. So I have sort of an idea how to draw Greco-inspired clothing. I definitely would not call myself an expert, though. But anyway, I normally will stare at a bunch of references before I start working on the drapery and jewelry for these pieces, and instead this time I decided to challenge myself and draw it solely with my skills. The color palette for my Medusa, I tried to keep it very standard. I went with minty green skin and dark green hair with pink and peach robes. Pink eyes on her snakes are meant to make her pop out more on the page and give off an otherworldly vibe, same for her yellow eyes. To help highlight her serpent woman identity, I gave her some snake scales along her arms and cheeks. And here she is all done, the Queen of Gorgons. Out of all the sisters, Medusa definitely took me the longest to draw, but was also the most fun in my opinion. Please note there isn't a lot of information on Stheno and Uriel, so I took a teeny bit of creative freedom on these next two designs. Moving on next, we have Stheno. For Stheno, I wanted to portray her as Medusa's very strong older sister, so I made her a very muscly girl. I knew I wanted each sister to look unique, so I did my best to give them each their own face and body type. I don't remember why, but I really struggled on her hair just like I did with Medusa. I kept not knowing how I wanted to style it, and in the end I went with sort of a side-swept look. For her clothes, I gave her shorter robes because I wanted her to be a fighter/warrior type of woman. Color-wise, to keep things unique, I went with a more albino snake palette of pinks, whites, and reds for Stheno to help her contrast Medusa and pop out more in the final illustrations. I don't have much else to say about this design, so I will let the speed paint finish playing out really quick, and we will move on to Uriel. Last but not least, we have Uriel, who was best known for her shrill and piercing cries of sorrow that she made when she lost her sister Medusa. When Medusa died, Uriel and Stheno basically spent the rest of their lives mourning their dead sister. For a long time, they even tried to chase after the mortal Perseus to get their revenge, but unfortunately they didn't succeed. I wanted Uriel to just be this very depressed-looking person, so I put her in a sad, pleading pose, and then I had trouble choosing how I wanted her eyes to look. Eventually, I just settled on no pupils at all because they looked too weird. I finally didn't struggle with the snake hair though, so that was a plus. As you'll see in just a moment, for Uriel's color palette, I went with deep purples and dark grays for a somber look. I think if I could go back and change any of the 3 designs, I'd probably change Uriel's. Only because looking back, I really should have made her snake hair either black or just made her overall a more natural snake color. But it's okay, I still think she looks cool. So who ended up being your favorite out of these 3 Gorgon designs? Feel free to comment your thoughts below. For me, I think my personal favorite ended up being Stheno. Anyway, if you enjoy Greek mythology and cool art, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Thank you and have a wonderful day.